I was going to mention, like this overall, the one that starred, this overall thumbnail was working for Matthew, and then he wanted to keep that Jeep on fire. I had actually put another burning vehicle in the first volume in the background, and we didn't get to use it, so he thought that would be great to drop into this one, keep this body posture instead of that one, and it mixed together and came up with that.
And you were working on it yesterday morning too. You were working on the Space Needle yesterday
I
morning?
did, yeah. I finished the needle in the morning, got a shot of it, sent it to you. You wanted me to sort of crisp up the the stock. I also changed so that some of the warmth came up in here. It's kind of hard to see in this light, but that'll match better, I think.
Yeah.
You know, this warmth popping
After
up
we were
under
talking
here.
about the warm light, you know, I was thinking of that. There seemed to be just a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm. There was just a
but
tad.
there was so much of that reflection on there.
And it was actually the underpainting. I hadn't covered it yet, so that was popping through.
So
and
I'm
I thought
glad you put that in, because it does match all of this.
Yeah,
That's happening on the underside.
Works a lot better. Shows the dimension of the rifle and stuff. And, I guess, Matthew, this means when I pull the tape off that the painting is finished. So that's the exciting part for me, because then I get to see what the picture looks like all cleaned up. You can pull that side if you want.
I was always told to pull at a 90-degree angle. I guess that's watercolor paper. So you don't pull the fibers off.
Yeah, you know, oil paint is, you can just beat on it, so it's pretty
Looks nice.
solid stuff. You know, I got that light because I was standing near the window, and I realized I could use the window light. So then I just put up a 60-watt bulb over here, and it was perfect firelight. So between daylight and the firelight, it just worked out great.
Just looking in the mirror?
No, I just happened to notice, just trying to get the light, I held my hand up in the room, and I noticed the window.
Did you shoot anybody for reference?
3 things. Took my thumbnail where I had the movement right,
Okay.
and then I shot pieces of me, and then I redrew my head, and then instead of using my figure, I used the thumbnail because I thought the movement was better, and then I redrew from there. And that's key. When you get the movement in something like a small thumbnail like that, don't want to break out of that.
No. I mean, the anatomy might not be perfect, but we're more interested in conveying an expression.
Exactly.
Than making sure that we're scientifically accurate.
Right. It just has to be believable.
Right.
If the figure is believable, that's all there is to it. You know.
And this is not, you know, this, while it looks haphazard, this is very much planned out. And I know
absolutely
initially your sketches don't show that, but as you're getting closer and closer to the finish, this is the type of thing that you just can't fake. Right. You got to really think about what you're putting down, and where shadows hit and where highlights go, in order for it, at a glance, because I know everyone's going to be looking at this, and people are going to glance over this, but the only reason they can do that is because it is right.
Yeah.
If it wasn't right, something glaring would jump out. You can't fake these types of areas that don't look like they're that important.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And it developed from the thumbnail all along, because I wanted each step to get me closer to knowing what everything was going to be, because we didn't have time to sit and fuss with it. You know, a lot of people think that the artist sits down at the board and gets loose and funky and sort of creates stuff as he goes. You know, that might happen in the fine art world, but not in illustration. You know, it's got to be known, because there are more people looking at it, and they're going to be deciding what's right, what's wrong. You want to take it a step at a time, closer and closer.
Well, I'm really glad that you are willing to share the entire process, because your style is painterly, and a lot of people will think that, wow, the guy loves to paint and he just sits down in front of a blank canvas and just starts putting the paint down, and doesn't realize how much prep work needs to happen, so that way you can do that, you can enjoy yourself, because all of that work is done. And it really is not a new thing. This is something that artists through the decades, through the centuries, used to spend the time working on thumbnails, half size, quarter size, full color size, And then,
Right.
because they didn't have a way to archive it, we're going to take a picture of this and have a file.
Right.
They'd have assistants who would actually repaint the thing 3 or 4 times because they needed to file it away someplace. So
Wow,
it's not a
that's
new
right.
process, and
Yeah.
yet it still looks fresh.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know,
Well, speaking of fresh, I mean, you know, my approach is a loose brushstroke, but that brushstroke has to be planned for. So when I get into these areas down there, the strokes are one time down and I'm out. I have to know from the thumbnails where I'm going. To sit and fuss with it makes it look overworked. The only way you can get that freshness is to plan and practice before you get there. And that's the fun part, when it goes down really fast. It just feels great. You got the music up.
what were you listening to?
The Beatles. I know it sounds weird, but oh well, let's get the Beatles back on. I tend to listen to them about once a year. That was my Beatle painting.
Great.